Hey everyone, I'm Roxy. Welcome to our interview series at ClearVoice, where we get a glimpse behind the curtain at some fantastic writers who contribute to our team. Joining me today is Chase. Let's kick things off. What got you into the world of content marketing?
Yeah, I studied poetry in college, and everyone was pretty quick to tell me that I was not going to make any money with a major in poetry. So it was right when I finished school. ClearVoice. Well, actually, I should take that back. ClearVoice, I think, launched in 2014. I had just come across their website, and they were looking for writers. It was like a new platform, so I signed up early. Very slowly, just started, putting articles together for them. I mean, I think the very first client I ever got was like this company called Wine Cooler Direct. So I was like writing articles about how to set your wine cooler to reds and whites and different things. And I had no experience at the time. Like I said, I mean, I just wrote fiction and creatively, poems, and I was very fortunate to kind of get started with that. And then just over the years, you get better and better, and the clients got better. And now I'm, just really ingrained into the whole operation. So it's a lot of fun, and I've been very fortunate.
That's awesome. That's a great first customer too. Let's see. What tools do you use when you're conducting research?
It's tough. I think the brief is a really important tool for the writer, like in any sense. The whatever the client has put together for you. Now, sometimes it's like nothing. I mean, sometimes it's literally a few sentences, and then with that, it's like, okay, I have free reign to sort of kind of do whatever I'd like to do. But more often than not, the brief has a lot of information in it, and they'll even list things for you. Like they'll list competitor links that they say that you can look at, but they don't want you to reference anything like that. Or they'll tell you that they'll give you a few sites that, like, hey, these are the best things, and we'd like you to pull information from, and just kind of spin it into your own words. So those kinds of things are really important. So the brief is always the very first resource that I look at to kind of gauge from, and then after that, it's do research obviously on your own, but you have to go to reputable sites, things that are vetted, or that sites that other people would see and immediately they know, okay, this is like a trusted source, like Harvard Business Review or something like that, or articles from like mainstream publications like Fortune or Wired, or things that just have a good readership and that usually have a pretty good authority on those things. Not sites that, like The Guardian or anything off Wikipedia, is not usually something that you want to pull from, because you want people who are doing the research already. And as a writer, you constantly have to just read and pick up on those things, and then stay educated yourself so you can have your own sort of voice with that information. So
Yeah. Do you have any favorites that you use to like stay up to date on information?
lately I've been reading the Financial Times, which is like a foreign newspaper. And they just, I mean, the research and the interviews and stuff that come out of that are really, really good. I read a lot of newspapers, like Wall Street Journal, Financial Times, I think is great. Just everything in general, even books. I'll read old books, from the 80s and 90s or whatever, or just like recent, contemporary novels and stuff that are published about, like fiction, nonfiction. And a lot of that information really comes in handy too. Yeah.
I love that you still read the paper newspaper. I'm right there with you. Paper pencil. I've got my notes,
Yeah.
so totally feel that. Is there any specific industry that you're very passionate about that you see the offer come through and you jump on it?
Yeah. I know a lot about photography, and art, like, fine art, contemporary art and stuff. So anytime I get an article that surrounds that, I really love to write about it, mainly because I don't really have to do any outside research. And I like the fact that you can feel so confident in a subject that I could just start immediately writing about it. And that's like a fun subject that I can immediately just start adding information towards. And believe it or not, something that has come through, which I've been writing about for a few years now, is fertility. Early on in my career, I started writing for a few fertility clinics, like around California. And that has really emerged as like, it's very valuable information for the people going through that experience. I've had some like personal friends of mine that I've like sent articles to who are going through IVF and like different fertility treatments and egg freezing and all those things. And just the amount of like inspiration and insight that they get from those articles is very rewarding, because it's a daunting, scary process. So like when I get those articles coming through for certain fertility clinics and that industry, it's also like, okay, this I see where the value of this is going, and that definitely makes me feel a lot more inspired to write it.
Yeah. When those customers come in, they've got those like great stories behind them.
Oh
It
yeah,
makes a huge difference.
sure.
Is there anything that you do to adapt your communication style when you're working with different clients or different industries?
Well, something that I think has really helped me just in general. I mean, again, because I have to talk to so many different types of people in different industries and different places and time zones, and but really, I mean, the thing that's really helped me adapt the most is just learning how to be myself all the time. Not necessarily feeling like, okay, I got to put on my, you know, security analyst hat, or I got to put on my, whatever other hat for this specific industry. Like I just try to be myself. But I kind of learned early on that when I was trying to pretend to sort of be all these different people and interact with people a certain way, or the way that I thought they wanted me to interact with them, things just never really worked out positively. And that freedom has allowed me to thrive even more and make better relationships with people that I do work with on a regular basis, because we understand each other on a very, personal level.
Definitely. Yeah, that genuine communication, I feel like makes such a huge difference across the board. Tell me about your inspiration behind your bike ballad journey.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's my novel that I'm finishing. I'm like 400 pages in, and I'm so close to being done. But yeah, my mother, she passed when I was 21, 22. She died. She, lost a battle with cancer. And, at the time, that was before I really started doing any content writing. It was before I even went to college. So my mom passed, and, I was in Korea with her when she died. That was kind of her last, wish. She wanted to go visit her family in Korea. So her and I was the only one. My sisters were kind of, they had obligations. And so that's kind of what the whole novel is about. Me flying with her to Korea and being with her during those, last moments. And then right after she passed, I flew back to California, and I went on a bike trip by myself for like 2 weeks, from Redding up north, California, all the way down to San Francisco. My plan was to ride back to LA. So the novel is about that trip, kind of laced in with those experiences with my mom, and then some things from the past, and just sort of my life leading up to all that stuff. Each chapter starts with a poem that I've written, from different times of my life. So it's a great way to kind of mix all those things together. And then really my skills with content marketing have really influenced that too, because like I said, the structure, those are your guideposts to finishing a project. Like I wrote a huge guide for Fiverr a couple months ago about like content marketing strategy. And it was like a 10,000 word, document that I had to put together from interviews and all kinds of things from other influencers, and having that know-how from writing articles and blog posts and how to flesh those things out really quickly. I think I wrote it in like a week.
Yeah, that's awesome. Let's see. As someone who's found so much success in your freelancing career, what advice do you have somebody who's new into that?
My advice would be that you just have to realize that it takes time. I mean, I think anything good that you really want to achieve, it just takes time. I mean, I've met a lot of people who have wanted to like have coffee with me, or take me out to lunch or whatever, and the first thing they ask me, go, dude, I want to start writing. Like I want to write. How do I do that from home, and how do I get started with that? And I will tell them everything they need to do. I mean, I will list out like, dude, do this, sign up for this, email this person, start doing this. I will give them the roadmap to do it. And then at the end of it, I have to tell them, and within 1 year, you will be earning money from your writing, and I'm sure you could probably quit your job and really make it a full-time thing. And it's that 1 year part that kills people. It's not going to happen overnight. For some people, maybe you start and you just get lucky and you book some client that's going to pay you $2,000 every 2 weeks to write content that could very well happen, but for the majority of us, the majority of people, it's a slow burn, and it's a waiting game, but through that waiting and that perseverance and that pursuit, comes opportunity. And for me, what has really helped me is that when those opportunities arise, or when they arrive, you're prepared. There's a great movie with Paul Newman, Tom Cruise. It's called The Color of Money. It's about like pool players. And Paul Newman says to Tom Cruise, and he goes, you got to learn how to be yourself, but on purpose. And I just think that is such a great quote and something to think about. Is like when these opportunities come up for you to be successful, to be who you are, to be what you've been working towards, you're ready to do it. You can turn it on like that and it's no problem. And I think that only comes with time. That comes with time and you refining who you are and, getting better at what you're doing and knowing that it's a process.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks so much for joining us today. We'll be back with more interviews, these dynamic writers and industry leaders. To learn more about our amazing content specialists, visit clearvoice.com.